It's now my honor to introduce Army veteran Andrew Campbell. Let's give it up for Andrew. Good evening. My name is Andrew Campbell, and for 6 years I served in the Maine Army National Guard. One of those years was in Iraq. During the 6 years that I served in the armed forces, I met a sizable number of men and women who were gays and lesbians, and they were not allowed to serve openly and honestly about who they chose to love, because to do so would have gotten them fired. As a veteran of a war, I understand very well the sacrifices that go hand in hand with being a member of today's armed services. And the fact that a sizable number of the armed services today aren't allowed to serve openly and honestly about who they choose to love is morally reprehensible, considering the sacrifices that we ask our men and women in uniform to make today. There are opponents of this message who say that we cannot effectively and safely integrate gays and lesbians into today's armed forces, even though they're already serving. There was a point in time in American history where people said the same thing about African Americans. And today, people of all races serve proudly and with distinction in today's armed services. There was a point in time in American history where women were not allowed to serve in the military. People said the same thing, that they wouldn't be able to effectively and safely integrate them into the armed services. And today, thousands of women serve openly, proudly, and with distinction in the armed services. As we stand here today, thousands of men and women are serving in uniform in the armed services that identify themselves as gay, lesbian, and bisexual. They're already here. And they're serving proudly and with distinction, but not honestly. Because to be honest about who they choose to love would get them fired. Congresswoman Pingree has voted against Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I really hope that Olympia Snow and Susan Collins are listening to this message here today and follow her lead. And I hope that the rest of the senators in Washington listen to this message and they do the same. Don't Ask, Don't Tell needs to stop. America's ready for it, and the military is certainly ready for it. I'm saying that as a veteran. Thank you very much for coming here today and listening to this speech.